Welcome to Dr. Jester Talks, and I'm gonna talk about this. From Dark Side of Gaming, 6 Days in Fallujah has been revived, coming to PC in 2021. First screenshots. Victura and Highwire Games today announced 6 Days in Fallujah, a first-person tactical military shooter based on true stories from the second battle for Fallujah in 2004. Originally announced by Atomic Games in 2009, 6 Days in Fallujah returns with a new publisher, new developer and an all-new game from many of the core leadership team who created the original Halo and Destiny games. This is actually very good news. Let's just finish reading this. I'm gonna explain it to you guys why this is good news. Former Marine Sergeant A.D. Garcia, who was wounded during the battle for Fallujah, said, "Sometimes the only way to understand what's true is to experience reality for yourself. War is filled with uncertainty and tough choices that can't be understood by watching someone on a TV or movie screen make these choices for you. Video games can help all of us understand real-world events in ways other media can't." Work in partnership with frontline Marines and soldiers who fought in battle for Fallujah, Victura and Highwire have spent more than 3 years building unique technologies and game mechanics that bring players closer to the uncertainty and tactics of modern combat than other video games have explored. Over 100 Marine soldiers and Iraqi civilians who were present during the second battle for Fallujah have shared their personal stories, photographs, and video recordings with the development team. The game gives these stories voices through gameplay and first-person account compared in the original documentary interview footage. 6 Days in Fallujah aims to be the most authentic military shooter to date and to tell these military and civilian stories with the integrity they deserve. Peter Tante, as CEO of Victura, added, "It's hard to understand what combat is actually like. Through fake people doing fake things in fake places, this generation showed sacrifice and courage in Iraq, as remarkable as any in history, and now they are offering the rest of us a new way to understand one of the most important events of our century. It's time to challenge outdated stereotypes about what video games can be." 6 Days in Fallujah will launch for PC in 2021. This is absolutely amazing because I remember when this this game was announced back in the day, I was definitely quite pumped and happy. I was really looking forward to it, but suddenly got cancelled. It got cancelled, but it had it was due to some controversy or something like that. But I never could quite understand what exactly happened. It was actually the game, at least back in those days, and apparently based on what I just read, it's actually based on factual information, things that happened, and on true events. And I think it was mostly, I remember a lot of people making a lot of stink about portraying the enemies, Muslims or something like that. Don't remember much, but I do remember some of the comments that I read. It was pretty retarded back in those days. Well, apparently it's still kind of retarded, but still. Let's see, I'm gonna go here on Wiki, let's see if that freshes up my memory. Unfortunately, cannot show you because it's going to be cut on the screen. I still have yet to fix that problem on my Streamlab OBS, so just to prove it, here it is. It's gonna be cut for you. So my apologies on that. Let's see. Shortly after the announcement of the game, 6 Days was met with criticism by war veterans from the United Kingdom as well as a British pressure group Stop the War Coalition. Let's see, Stop the War, formerly known as Stop the War, is a British group established after to campaign against what it believes are unjust wars. It was mostly a pro-Muslim group. To counter the accusation made by critics in an interview with Joystick, Tempted stated, as we have watched the dialogue that's taking place about the game, there's definitely one point that we want people to understand about the game, is that it's not about politics or whether the US should have been there or not. It's really about the stories of the Marines who are in Fallujah, and the debate about the politics that is something for the politicians to worry about. We're focused now on what actually happened on the ground. They didn't go much into detail about the shit show that it happened. I remember it was a shit show, but I don't remember the quite specifics, but I do remember that it was a lot of people who were a bit on the terrorist side, defending terrorists, and they did not going to approve of the game showing the American soldiers in a good light. But don't quote me on that, because it was a bit of a while ago, and my memory could be a bit fuzzy on that regard. But I do remember that it was a bit of shenanigans, because mostly, there you go, now I remember why I hated the Stop the War Coalition. Now I remember why. Damn it, you can't see it. Let's see if I can. No, it didn't. It didn't work. Anyway, key people: Andrew Murray, Lindsay German, Tony Bran. Here's why. George Galloway and Jeremy Corbyn. Two very anti-Semitic and very, very pro-Islamic terrorist people. And communists. Remember, George Galloway has also appeared on the Gaza Strip supporting Hamas, an actual non-terrorist organization. Yeah. So this is why I don't have a respect for this organization. Yeah. Let's see what they say about the Israeli and Syrian conflict. Now, obviously they are going to attack Israel, considering who people supported it. Here's what we could do in the let's see. Inside the Syrian protest, the president failed to listen to appeals from the one another. This inside the coalition won't even campaign for airdrops of food and medical supplies, but fuck it. But suffice to say, they were anti-Israel. And that's pretty much the go-to and things. Let's go and take a look at these screenshots. Yeah, it looks good. Just hopefully, and here is me hoping to the best that it doesn't become, Epic Games exclusive. Oh, hey, it's kind of like looking like Latin America, except the architecture over here, which is pretty much more advanced than Latin America, but otherwise it's pretty much like looking at Latin America. Even the gates. Except this thing, it's usually simpler because it's cheaper just to be cheaper. But overall, it looks like Latin America. Pretty dirty, with bullet holes. Yeah, pretty on standard, on par of Latin America. Hey, we could, if this game is using a proprietary engine or something like that, it would be kind of good to mod this game and make one of those games based on Latin America, something like that. But the looks are good. The game here should be quite interesting, because in an attempt back in the day, in an attempt to minimize civilian casualties, they ended up using soldiers on ground to actually just go building to building, painstakingly go building to building, to try and root out terrorists, and other people like that, combatants. And turns out it was a bad decision, because it ended up costing a lot on the coalition side. And eventually the terrorists ended up using actual civilians as human shields. And they saw that they could actually drag on and make it very costly to the Americans, the British, and other countries who joined the fight by doing so. They could have used more vehicles, they could have used aerial bombardment and things like that. And made the terrorists flee the city into a more open field, which would have made the fighting more, at least, easier than using buildings or hiding inside buildings. At least that's the idea of what I saw in the documentary about this situation, about the 6 days in Fallujah. It was painful for these people to fight inside the city. Hopefully, they portrayed that in the video game, and it was absolutely bad for the soldiers back in there. The many, at least from last I checked, many are still suffering from PTSD from fighting in that city, and it's absolutely atrocious. It'll be interesting to experience that, at least in a video game. Obviously, it's not like the real thing, but it's much closer than actually seeing this on TV or at least just listening to the people talking about it and you picturing it in your head, things like that. At least this will give us a much closer opportunity to experience what these people went through in trying to root out those terrorists. And remember, those were not actual civilians. Many of those are actually former soldiers from Saddam Hussein and other actual terrorists, because they saw it, the infidels invading the holy land of Islam, things like that. Anyway, on that note, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more of these content. Stay right here on Karen2. On youtube.com/Dr. Jester, and if you want spicier content, go to minds.com/Dr. Jester, because there I won't have to censor myself, and here I have to censor myself a lot. For instance, in this video I had to censor quite a few of the things that I wanted to say, but I couldn't. So if you want more, head there in minds.com/Dr. Jester. On that note, thank you for watching. Good night.